Joining me now in studio is Cas Rodriguez. Cas, thank you for coming on this show. And once we spoke, I know I had to meet you and learn more about what you are doing, everything that you are doing for the Hispanic community, but Western New York together as a whole. Now, what inspired you to start the Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York?
Well, first and foremost, Jordan, thank you very much for having me here on GoodDeedsBuffalo, amazing show, and I really appreciate this opportunity. What inspired me? It's been a journey for the last 10 years. We just celebrated our 10th year anniversary.
Wow.
But it all began in 2009 when I was asked by the deputy county executive back then, a very good friend of mine, Al Hammond, which I worked with at General Motors,
oh, wow.
Believe it or not, in management. And he asked me if I would be willing to be part of the Erie County Cultural Resource Board.
Okay.
And the Erie County Cultural Resource Board is a board that's made up of community leaders from different sectors that interview, and they read they read the proposals that are submitted by the Erie County cultural groups,
okay.
and art, theater, and what have you. And just to give you an example, organizations like the Art Gallery, the History Museum, the Buffalo Philharmonic, the Buffalo Zoo, what have you. And these folks submit their proposals for funding. And you know, I was able to read a lot of the proposals and interview the folks, the executive director, the finance person, what have you, the folks that came in front of that board. And I got to know a lot about what the cultural organizations do in Western New York, specifically in Erie County. And in the conversation, in the interview, you know, I pretty much asked a lot of the groups, how does the Hispanic community fit in to their vision and their mission and their programming specifically, you know, and not a criticism, okay, but it was very little programming.
Understood.
And what have you. And after that experience, and I got to know a lot of these folks very well, in a way that, you know, we develop a relationship. And that's where the idea came out to form the Hispanic Heritage Council. 2010, we knew we needed some type of significant event, and we picked Hispanic Heritage Month. And what I did is I reached out to the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library, where our offices are located today.
Oh, wonderful.
And back then, the executive director was Stanton Hudson.
Okay.
Ann Conable was the community liaison, what have you. And I reached out to them for a meeting. And we knew that we needed a location to launch Hispanic Heritage Month in 2010, which was the first official launch of Hispanic Heritage Month. And I met with Stanton and Ann to ask them if we can use the facilities, the Ring of Knowledge, to officially kick off Hispanic Heritage Month in 2010. Wow. And they accepted. Matter of fact, they said there's no better place to do such a memorial or great event for the community like the library. So we began planning. I reached out to community leaders.
So before this, did you have experience in the community? Were you working in the community prior, before you took this on?
Well, believe it or not, Jordan, I've been involved with the community close to half a century, ever since I was in high school.
Yeah.
You know,
so for quite a while.
You know, I attended Grover Cleveland High School.
Oh, wow.
Right in the heart of our community. Was part of the bilingual program there. I was part of the organization there. And from there, I went to the university to get my bachelor's. Yeah. And I've always been involved with the community ever since.
Yeah.
And
So you really have been part of the Buffalo community for a while, but then you've seen the need to really bring the Hispanic Heritage Council to create that program. Now, that is just a wonderful thing to do, to see a need. And when we spoke previously, I told you I really resonated with your story because you didn't want the Hispanic community to be forgotten about here or abroad, and you made sure to bring it to the forefront. Now, what does having a Hispanic Heritage Council mean to you, being the founder of this organization?
Well, it needs to go back to the mission, and our mission is to short of promoting Hispanic heritage, history, and culture.
Yes.
So, like I said, in 2010, we had our first launch. 2011, we incorporated as a 501c3 organization.
Oh, wow.
Okay, in 2012, we launched the Hispanic History Project.
Oh, wow.
Which is a documentation of the history of Hispanics here in Western New York, dating back to the late 1800s to the present.
Oh, wow.
And that was a very nice initiative and learning experience that we collaborated with the Buffalo History Museum.
Oh, wonderful.
And the Buffalo and Erie County Library to put together the history, or some of the history
of the Hispanic community here in
That's
Buffalo.
right, and that's ongoing. That's ongoing.
Now, we mentioned some events that they highlighted for years now, but what are some of the events that you've held as Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York?
Well,
what are some of your favorite events?
Well, some of the highlights is, let's say, Cinco de Mayo celebration.
Yes, wonderful.
Hispanic Heritage Month is a long month of events and activities in which we collaborate with the arts and cultural partners.
Yeah.
And we hold events and activities at their sites and what have you to promote our heritage and our history with their constituency along with our own community.
Yeah.
So that's a big month. The events that we have throughout the entire year, the Day of the Child, where we honor our children, not only in the schools but in the community, promoting literacy, nutrition, health, and character.
Yeah.
That's a big event. And also, through this journey, we've been able to call upon government, the city council, to designate the Niagara Street Corridor Hispanic Heritage District. We've been involved with the naming of the Niagara Branch Library the Isaias Gonzalez Library, which that gentleman was a pioneer in our community that was very instrumental in bilingual education. The naming of the auditorium at the Herman Badillo Bilingual Academy to one of our prominent leaders in the community, Dr. David Caban. So there's events
You had mentioned some resources that your organization offers, but can you tell me a few resources that you do offer as Hispanic Heritage Council?
Well, first and foremost, our exhibit that articulates in exhibit form the history of our community, the timeline of people, events, activities that pretty much shaped our community.
Absolutely.
The events that I mentioned throughout the entire year. We're a resource to the Buffalo Public Schools. Matter of fact, right now we're working with the Buffalo Public Schools to develop a curriculum on Hispanic and Puerto Rican history, which if all goes well and it's going to be launched in the next calendar school year.
Wow, that's quick.
That's a big project. And we're available to the community at large, to the organizations, not only in locally in Buffalo, but throughout Erie County, where we go and speak about our history, our heritage, and our culture.
And you want to share that with the Buffalo Western New York community. And I know you mentioned before, I know it's Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York, but you are really trying to share the Hispanic heritage with Western New York. And you would love for them to embrace and try to learn about the wonderful heritage you have. And I heard that now you're offering a scholarship, the Ralph R. Hernandez Bilingual Education Scholarship. Can you tell me about that a little bit?
Well, Ralph R. Hernandez was a Buffalo School Board president
Oh, okay.
Elected to that position. He was a member of the school board, and he's since retired from that position. And we thought along the way that, one of the things we'd like to offer the community and our future leaders of our community, if they're thinking of going to college, we'd like to offer them a scholarship, which is sponsored by the First Niagara Foundation.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's it's an endowment in the community foundation. They hold the funds, and every year we award a college-bound student that's graduated from high school a scholarship. And there's criteria that they need to meet and so forth. And all that information, you can find it on our website.
Awesome. Now, I really like that idea for the bilingual educational scholarship. I personally would love to learn some Spanish, so I think that's something I might look into. Now, can you tell us a little bit about the Hispanic Heritage District?
Well, the Hispanic Heritage District, that's the Niagara Street Corridor. As you know, the Niagara Street Corridor is the gateway to America from Canada and the gateway to Canada.
One of the beautiful things we have right here bordering Canada.
That's right. And it's right in the heart of our Hispanic community where a large population of Hispanics live. And throughout the entire corridor, which the boundaries are Elmwood Avenue to Porter Avenue, you can see art, murals. You have parapets of landmarks that illustrate some of the history of our community. We have a timeline at each end of those boundaries, those corners, that pretty much illustrate what shaped our community.
Awesome.
You have Buffalo Square right in the corner of Niagara and Virginia, where you have nice 4 buffaloes that are representative to our proud.
Yeah, and I actually seen recently on Facebook, you were down there cleaning up near the buffaloes, and they're such a wonderful attraction to see those buffaloes. Now, during your time as president of the Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York, you announced a $10 million institute to come to Niagara Street. What excites you most about this project?
Well, first and foremost, that project is going to be the epitome of our organization and our community. It's the Hispanic Heritage Cultural Institute. Our capital campaign chairman, Manny Lezama, is spearheading raising the $10 million.
So so Manny Lezama will be leading this new project?
He'll be leading the capital campaign.
Awesome, wow.
And it's going to be a 33,000 square facility. It's going to have a museum where we're going to be able to preserve a lot of the artifacts, a lot of the pictures, a lot of the documentation that we've been able to collect
throughout the years
about the history of our community. And it's going to have an art gallery. It's going to have a theater.
Ooh, a theater.
For on-site plays and what have you. It's going to have an activities hall. And most important, there's going to be some learning labs there for the children.
That is wonderful.
Through experiential learning and culturally sensitive education and subject matter dealing with history, heritage, and culture that our children can learn. And a media center.
Oh, wow.
Focused on radio and TV. We hope to, once we inaugurate the location, which is going to hopefully be in 2024 timeframe, that we're able to secure a frequency for radio to be able to educate, communicate, and inform our community. Because today we do not have a radio station.
How can our viewers watching help you and the Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York?
Well, they can go to our website, HispanicHeritageWNY.org. As it relates to the Institute, we have our own website for the Cultural Institute, which is hhcinstitute.org. All the information, it's user-friendly. Both websites are user-friendly. Lots of information. They can go there. They can get involved. They know more about us. And also, if they like to donate, there's links to do that as well.
We'll be back to wrap up our show after this message.